You've gone to the trouble of making a video, but what about turning that video into a vertical video pin with a video at the top and a still image at the bottom? Well, I'm going to show you how you can do that using Photoshop. So I'm in Photoshop, and the first thing that I want to do is to create a blank canvas. I do that by selecting File, New, and the canvas size that I want is 1000 by 1500. That's the typical size, at least that I use for a Pinterest pin. So I'm going to select the width of 1000 pixels, the height of 1500 pixels, and the pixels per inch of 72, and click Create. Now before adding anything, I want to make sure that the timeline is showing, which it isn't here. So to do that, I go up to Window and select Timeline, and now the timeline appears down at the bottom. And I'm going to be adding a number of different elements to that timeline. The first element will be the video. To do that, I select Layer, Video Layers, New Video Layer from File, and I want to select the video. And I actually have it saved on my desktop. Click Open. And as you can see here, the video is way larger than the Ultimate Video Pin, so I need to resize it. I do that by selecting Edit, Free Transform, and here it tells that it needs to convert it to a Smart Object layer, which is fine, so I'm going to select Convert. And that allows me to resize and also reposition. And it's unfortunate that I can't see what I'm doing, but let me just do that. I can always change it later. And to see what I've done, I'm going to click on the background over on the right. So there it is. It might be a little bit big, but again, I can change that later. The next thing that I want to do is to insert the still image. I'm going to select File, Place Embedded, and this is my still image, Place, and then I'm going to drag it to the bottom. And actually, I think it needs to be a little bit bigger, so I'm going to resize it just a little bit. That looks good. And I'm going to select the check mark up at the top. Now, at this point, I've got the video at the top, I have a still image at the bottom, and now I need to enter some text. I can either enter it on this white space here, or I can create another layer, a colored layer for the text, and I think that's what I want to do. So I'm going to select the rectangle tool, and I'm going to just drag it. That looks good. Now right now it's red. I think what I'd really like is for it to be maybe this off-white color down here. So in the Properties panel, I'm going to select the little red thing. I'm going to select the color picker, and let me just click someplace down here. Yeah, that looks good. So now I've got a rectangle separating the video from the still image where I can enter some text. To enter the text, I'm going to select the text tool. That font's okay, 72, yeah, that's good. Red, yeah, actually I think I want the font to be red. If I wanted it to be another color, I could click on this and change it to whatever color I wanted. But I'm going to leave it at red. And I'm going to click somewhere in the rectangle. It doesn't really matter where. But I'm going to just start typing. So copycat, chocolate chip, Buntini. And let me reposition it just a little bit. It's a little too high, but it's centered. So that looks good. One of the things that I like to do with my text is I like to put a little bit of a bevel on it. So I do that with this little tool down at the bottom. At least that's where it is. It's at the bottom of the Layer tab. Click on it. It looks like an FX. Select Bevel and Emboss. And I want an inner bevel. Yeah, that looks good, so I'm going to select OK. So again, I just like the way that looks. The next thing that I want to do is to add pudge factor. So I'm going to again select the text tool, I'm going to click somewhere in the rectangle and I'm going to type pudge factor. And that's way too big, so let me highlight it and let me change the font size to maybe 40. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And let me reposition it just a little bit, drag it to the bottom, make sure it's centered. That looks good. So again, I want to add a bevel. That's at the bottom of the Layers tab. Select FX, Bevel and Emboss, and OK. So that's my video. Now before actually producing it, one of the things that I need to do down in the timeline, this right here is my video, but notice that the other layers that I've added are not dragged to the end of the video. So I want to drag each of them so that their length is the same as the video. Make sure I got them all. Okay, to actually produce the video, I want to go up to File, Export, Render Video, and let me give it a name. Buntini's pen. And I'm going to just save it to my desktop. Notice that the quality is medium. You have different options in terms of the quality. My recommendation would be to keep it at medium. I don't think that you want it to be high quality. So I'm going to leave it at medium and I'm going to select Render. Okay, so let's see what the video looks like. Here it is. Let me double click on it. It brings up QuickTime Player and let me just play it. So there you have it. That's how you can create a vertical pin, a vertical video pin with a video at the top and a still picture at the bottom.